This episode of Dorking Out is brought to you by Clampett Oil, with offices in Houston, Dallas, and Beverly Hills.
And embarrassed. Did you leave a copy of your resume on the work printer? Then you need embarrassed and a new job.
Houston, flight is go.
Mila, let's go. SPM. Safety contact.
From Assignment X, Amalgamated Storytelling, and thesoniashow.com, it's The Dorking Out Show with Christopher Allen Smith and Sonia Mansfield. Welcome to episode 35 of Dorking Out, a podcast for people who like to dork out about stories and the stories and culture that we love. That means movies, that's a big one this week, TV, books and podcasts, and everywhere else you find stories that interest you. This is the Chris wins the Oscar predictions about Dorking Out Studios.
Oh my God, that is not what it is called. That is wishes. That's what it was called.
Yes, you're right. I'm sorry. Let me correct it. I kind of stumbled there. This is the Chris wins the Oscar predictions about Dorking Out Studios edition.
This is the Oscar predictions about Dorking Out Studios edition.
Hi, Sonia.
I'm gonna win.
Today with me is my professional writer and author, co-host of the Sonia Show, Sonia Mansfield.
Hey there.
Hello.
I'm also the winner of this year's Oscar pool. With me today is my co-host, Emmy Award-winning filmmaker and nerd author, Christopher Allen Smith.
That's right.
In this week's episode, we share our Oscar predictions, if you couldn't tell from the beginning, for Sunday night's Academy Awards. We have a pretty good track record, so you might want to pay attention and win your office Oscar pool. In our second segment, we play another round of Dorking Out Studios, this time with Raymond Scott Daigle and Coryon Redd and Smith, are going to be giving me, the head of Dorking Out Studios, their best movie pitches.
Who will win?
And I am a really tough studio head, by the way. This is your chance to see me or listen to me be a real jerk.
That's right.
All of that, plus our favorite headlines of the week. We've got a lot to dork out about, so let's get this podcast started.
On top of all this, you'll find those low IGA prices featured on every item.
Topic 1, it's time for our Oscar predictions. Oh, I'm so excited. This is like my favorite time of the year. It's like my Super Bowl.
Watching other people get trophies.
Yes. So Smith and I have been fighting for almost 30 years. Fighting to be the ultimate Oscar pool winner. And I would say for years, it's been pretty evenly split. But in the past few years, Smith has been kicking my ass.
Yeah, I have.
And I'm hoping to redeem myself this year. The Oscars love a comeback story. And me beating Smith in the Oscar pool is this year's underdog story. I'm this year's Rocky.
That's actually right. That is right.
We take our Oscar predictions very seriously. So we're going to run through all the nominations, all of them, and make our official. Well, I said official picks, but that's not right. So these are our semi-official.
These
picks.
are there are pretty official picks.
They're pretty official, but we're going to post the official picks on Saturday
or Sunday of next week because
before.
Yeah. On the Saturday or Sunday, because one of the ways that I have taken a comfortable lead in recent years is
by cheating.
Kind of, yeah. Is finding a lot in a 538 fashion, 538.com style fashion. There's a lot of leading indicators for this stuff, and I've looked exhaustively at what these leading indicators are, and some of them aren't even, like, one of them is I think it's the Film Editors Award that doesn't come out till Tuesday, and then I think that Independent Spirit Awards, essentially the Sundance Awards, happens this Saturday.
Right.
And there's some crossover there.
I'm feeling pretty confident, and I think most of mine are probably locked down, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't want to say, like, for sure, but I feel like these really are.
That's true. Now, here's something that Sonia knows and I know, but this is one of the reasons I'm not giving my final predictions tonight, is the way that you really win your Oscar pool is not by picking Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Director, the one that basically everybody talks about, and there's a ridiculous amount of analysis and buzz and whatever. The way, because a lot of people, like for this year, for example, I'd be willing to bet everybody's going to be picking Viola Davis for supporting actress and Emma Stone for actress.
Right. Viola Davis is probably the only sure thing.
Right. So if you pick something that's a sure thing and everybody else picks the sure thing, you're not going to get ahead.
Right.
The way that the pros get ahead is by picking best sound mixing.
Yeah.
Or best live action short. Or something that you have not seen, that you're not going to see, that you probably never heard of. It's kind of a 1 in 5 Russian roulette style thing for most people just marking the ballot. But if you can figure out which one of those is going to win, that's when you get really kind of going to the lead.
Yeah.
So, Sonia
Excellent advice.
Thank you.
Where shall we start? Do we want to start with the big ones and work our way down?
You know what?
Or you want to start small?
Well, okay. Let's start small. I have written. I've kind of have a table, almost an Excel spreadsheet of who's won what in which things, and I've did it in the list, the ordered list as it is on the actual official Oscar website.
Oh, you're such an awesome dork. Okay.
But here's the thing, is I don't understand their ranking at all. Because first it's Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Supporting Actor, Best Supporting Actress, Animated Feature, Cinematography, Costume Design, then Director.
Yeah. That's so funny. That's the same list I'm looking at.
Okay, then it goes down. And then last, actually, this might be appropriate for a town like Hollywood, and I think a lot of writers will know. Last and least, the writing award. The people who write the script.
Yeah.
So
Shall we start there?
Yeah. You know what? Let's show the writers as two writers who righteously know this is where the magic starts. Let's start with the writers, and then we'll work our way up to Best Picture.
Okay. So let's start with original screenplay.
Yep.
Do you want to go first, or you want me to go first? I bet we probably picked the same thing. Let's see.
I am going to go with, even though, well, actually, let me step back. This is the last thing I need. Last caveat is, this is not about who I think should win. This is not who I think is favorite, and that's the way a lot of people lose.
Yeah,
they go, I like this actor, and that actor has not a chance in hell.
Yeah.
No, the way you win is
you can't vote with your heart.
You definitely can't vote with your heart. What you have to do is figure out what a bunch of hoity-toity Hollywood elite types. Yeah. And for once, that is a completely appropriate category, because it literally is hoity-toity Hollywood elite types that vote on this stuff.
Last year, I had to just close down my heart, and be really hard, and because to me, Room was the best movie last year. To me, Room was the best movie last year, and I was like, it should win everything. And that boy should have been nominated. I don't even think he was nominated, and he should have been. But I was like, no, you have to close off your heart and look at it completely logically.
Right.
And that's hard.
When in doubt, ask yourself, who would Susan Sarandon vote for?
Bernie Sanders, apparently.
Exactly. Thank God we're talking about the Oscars, though. Something that matters. Or who would Helen Mirren vote for?
There you go.
Because there's a lot of crossover actors from Britain to America. We've said this before, but the vast majority of votes for Oscars comes from the Screen Actors Guild, because they just have the numbers.
Oh, there is one other thing we should mention too.
Yeah.
That they really opened up the voting this year.
They did.
Right.
All right. They did. Now here's the thing, is in the past there's been a lot of guidelines or a lot of leading indicators, rules of thumb That's what I'm looking for.
There you go.
There's been a lot of rules of thumb on who is going to win. Usually, if it's a British person in trouble, that's
Right.
the one to go. It's, your Madness of King George, your King's Speech type movies. If a British person has a problem,
Yeah.
they're a lead. They're usually a lead in the actor, and usually have a pretty good chance for best actor. Or
Just
for
like
Best
always
Picture.
Holocaust documentary.
That's right.
Win.
Yeah. If there's anything having to do with the Holocaust or World War II, that's where you put your money.
Right.
But the thing is, last year, after several years of Oscars so white kind of pressure, the Academy opened up its voting in several different categories to more diversity. They essentially added a bunch of people into the Academy. And I think they did kick some people out, but I think they just kind of retired people who hadn't actually worked on any productions for a while.
Right.
There was kind of a lot of yammering about it, but it was really like, if you hadn't made a movie in 15 years, thanks for your service, but get out kind of thing.
So a lot of our old standby rules may be out the window this year, and we don't know that yet.
That's right. So you could watch us. You could be watching us walk into a buzzsaw right now.
Yeah.
We could come back to you next week when we do our kind of Oscar review and just kind of like talk about it on the show, because we're actually going to be at Sonia's house that night.
I was thinking maybe we do some Facebook Live
Yes, we're gonna
throughout the night
we're gonna
with
do
some like updates or something.
Yes, we're going to do some Facebook Live. So pay attention to that. So yeah, it could just be a half an hour of crying next week. Just we're going to let you know.
It would be such a shame too.
That's right.
'Cause we have such a good backlog of knowledge, and it
That's
just
right.
all goes out the window.
It all goes out the window.
Yeah.
Um,
All the time I spent reading my Oscar A to Z book, which I really did read,
Oh,
would be
wow.
just gone.
Oh, man. Well, you know what?
Anyway, so we should
Okay,
do
yeah.
these. We have a lot.
Yeah, okay. Best original screenplay. I picked Manchester by the Sea, even though I really did not like that movie.
I also picked Manchester by the Sea. I think this is going to be its only win.
I think it is. I am really, really rooting
By the way,
for...
it's not what I would pick.
What
like
would you
the-
pick for this one?
I really liked Hell or High Water.
Yes! Me too. All right, cool. Yeah, actually, I watched that.
I mean, I love La La Land too, but
Yeah.
you're going to see a trend here where I'm like, I'm not picking the one I think should win.
All right, so we've done a lot of yammering.
Okay, let's go.
Writing.
Adapted screenplay.
Adapted screenplay. I'm going to go with Moonlight.
I am also going with Moonlight, which just won the Writers Guild Award tonight for original screenplay.
That's right.
That's not confusing.
That's not difficult. Now, Laura and I, and Dell, whose name will come up a little bit later, watched Lion last night, and that's a fantastic
Yeah.
movie. Did you see it?
Yeah, I actually want to see it, and I don't want to brag, but I have a screener of it here, so I'm going to see it.
Oh, look at you. All right, so yeah, I'm kind of hoping that one has a chance, but I don't think it is. Next up.
Visual effects.
Actually,
right?
visual effects.
I referred to my in-house expert for this one.
Mm-hmm.
My husband, David Tracy, works in this field.
That's right.
And I went with the Jungle Book.
I went with the Jungle Book 2, as apparently
We're
everybody's
just going to have the same ballot.
everybody's going with the Jungle Book. Sound mixing.
By the way, once again, not the one I would pick. I would probably go Kubo and the Two Strings.
You know, I've seen Kubo and the Two Strings in this category, and I gotta say, I think that's unfair. When it's all stop motion and animation, that's a different ball game. And yes,
It's a visual effect, though.
well, yeah, but then you could put every stop motion animated movie into visual effects.
Yeah, well, why not?
Because that's not what visual effects are. But before David Tracy jumps on the mic and tells me how I'm wrong, I do realize that definitely in recent years, especially when you watch a movie like Doctor Strange, the line between animation and photorealistic films
Yeah.
is very subjective at this point. And that's actually one of the leading indicators of who's going to win is who won the visual effects award, and the Jungle Book won one of those also for best photorealistic blah blah blah.
Oh, there you go. So our next two are the sound editing and sound mixing.
Right.
And I feel like I want to explain. Sound editing refers to the creation of all the sound besides music in a movie. And sound mixing is how you mix all of those elements. So music, dialogue, sound effects, things like that. So a lot of people are like, I don't know what the difference is. So I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Yeah, that is the difference, but really, who cares? Because you're picking a bunch of sound effects and you're putting them in there. You know what it is? Think of sound mixing as what sound do you turn up when? That's it. Sound editing is where a lot of the hard work is done. Let's find all these cool sounds and use them. Sound mixing is who's playing with the volume dial when they're putting the movie together. So if it were up to me, I would just roll those into one. But
what's the fun in that? What did you pick for sound mixing?
La La Land.
So did I. I'm sensing a problem here.
It could be a problem. Wow, this could be interesting. Well, you know what it is?
So here, I picked La La Land because they won the Cinema Audio Society Award.
That's right.
And past winners include Whiplash, Les Mis, Dreamgirls, and Chicago. So it makes me think musicals win a lot in this category.
That is some fine detective work.
Thank you.
Let me ask you this.
I take this very seriously.
Let me ask you this. Before last year, did you ever go to the different guild awards and check out their winners? Or have you
always.
Recently started this? Okay. Then
I always have.
Okay. Sound editing.
I went with Hacksaw Ridge.
So did I.
Yeah, because war movies tend to do really well in this category.
That's true. Now, all right.
Okay, go ahead.
Short film, live action. This is where things start.
Well, I do want to say that sound editing. This is where it is possible that La La Land could come in here and get an award as part of a sweep, but I think it's going to be Hacksaw Ridge.
That's right.
Okay, live action,
short film. What one are you going with?
I cannot pronounce some of these, so I'll go with the English title. It's called Enemies Within.
Oh my God!
Did you pick that one too?
Yeah.
That is so funny. I was really torn between this one, and I heard that Time Code is really good, but I went for this one anyway.
According to the Gold Derby Oscar betting odds site, Time Code has a 20% chance of winning. Enemies Within has a 50% chance of winning.
Oh, okay.
But 50 it could be any of those others. So if you want to go forward here, because I'm probably picking Enemies Within.
No, I'm not changing my vote. You changed your vote.
No. I'm not talking to you, Sonia. I'm talking to our listeners. Good Lord.
Oh.
If you wanted to try to get ahead, what you might do is switch to Time Code, because then if Enemies doesn't hit it and you hit it with Time Code, then that's a leg up.
Yeah.
That's the dirty little secret about a lot of these categories is on some years, and it looks like this year is one of them, some of these other, there are some movies that are almost a lock and other movies that have essentially no chance. But, and short film live action this year is kind of all over the place. The highest chance one of them has is 50%, which is pretty low. Which brings us to short film animated.
You know what? Usually I see all of these and I haven't seen them yet. I've only seen one of them.
Is it?
But usually I watch all of them.
Okay. Which one did you see?
Piper.
That's the one I saw.
And that's the one I picked.
That's the one I picked also. Man.
Oh, dear.
Oh, God. Are we? Okay.
You know what? We'll see.
You know what? Now that I think about this, we are... Let's pick these up because we're all picking the same ones. Production design.
Oh, you don't want to? I thought we were going in this order. We're not going to do original song.
Oh, that's interesting because according to my order, production design is the next one.
All right, production design. So here's something I noticed. I'm gonna pick it up. I'm sorry. Production design and costume design go out. A lot of times they're together. So, if you do that, then you narrow it down to La La Land and Fantastic Beasts. So I think both of these are going to go to La La Land.
Let's see. Production design, La La Land is what I chose. And then costume design, La La Land is what I chose. That's, hold on, though. Because with production design... I'm
not saying every time, by the way. I'm just saying a lot of times.
Production design and costumes. This happens a lot with costumes is the older and more ornate the costumes are, the larger the chance that people have to win. The Oscars love to give Oscars, or, the Academy loves to give Oscars to people who make big poofy dresses from England in the 1800s.
Well, they don't really have that shot here, but they could go for Jackie.
That's the other thing is Jackie. So La La Land, according to Golden Derby, has a 52% chance. Jackie has a 39% chance.
Mm-hmm.
Variety is saying Jackie is the favorite. I'm going with La La Land, but Jackie, which is a period piece, if there's no big poofy costumes being nominated, find the period piece.
Yeah.
And, so Jackie, and if it's a period piece comedy or a period piece drama, go with the period piece drama. So there's Jackie here, there's Florence Jenkins, which I believe is a period piece, but it's a comedy. Then there's Allied, which doesn't look like it has a chance.
Yeah. But it did have beautiful clothes.
It did, So, all right. So, production design, a lot of the same caveats.
And we both picked La La Land.
Yeah, we both picked La La Land. It's got an 81% chance on Golden Derby or whatever. Best original song. What are you going with?
City of Stars.
This really bugs me because
that we're having the same ones, or that only two from La La Land are nominated.
No, that does bug me that we're having all the same. What the other thing that bugs me is the Fools Who Dream is obviously head and shoulders the better song of those two songs.
I would agree with you, but they're both really great songs, and City of Stars is kind of like the theme or whatever.
It is.
So
I get it. It is, but especially one of the things that we've talked about before is Oscars love to give awards to themselves and for people who make movies. There's a disproportionate number of Academy Awards that go to stories about the making of movies. That's how a silent film won in the 21st century. Because
I really like that movie.
I did too, but come on. Because it was about making movies. You're not there. No silent film made in 2013 about factory workers in the tenements of New York in 1890 is going to win, is even going to be nominated, is even going to be seen. The only reason the artist had a chance is because it was about self-involved actor types doing things in Hollywood, chasing their dreams in Hollywood. So because of that, City of Stars obviously has the lead.
Yeah. Now, there are two songs from La La Land in here, and it is possible that they could split the vote, and How Far I'll Go from Moana could win. Because, I mean, people sure do love Lin-Manuel Miranda.
They do. That's
from Hamilton.
True.
But
man,
I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to be City of Stars.
Yeah, that would be exceedingly weird if one of the most lauded musicals in years doesn't win. But you're right. There is a split vote problem. But according to the Golden Derby odds site, City of Stars has an 80% chance. Variety thinks it's going to win. So there you go.
There you go.
Musical score.
I'm sure we're both doing La La Land here.
Yep. All right. Let's go on makeup and hairstyling.
I can't see anyone voting for Suicide Squad for anything other than a Razzie, so I'm going to go with Star Trek Beyond.
I am too. A lot of people seem to be of the same opinion. Foreign film. This one, this might be the only difference that we have.
You think we will?
I don't know. Maybe. What's your choice?
The Salesman?
Oh, Jesus.
Why did you pick The Salesman?
Wait a minute. What are we going to do if we have all of our picks the same pick?
I don't know. Maybe we have to force ourselves to change one.
Okay, here's what we'll do.
Why did you pick The Salesman? Yeah, go ahead.
Because it was second in variety, and it was second on the Golden Derby Oscar thing.
So you picked the movie that was the second?
Well, here's the thing: is in Variety thinks that A Man Called Ove or whatever is in first place to win the Oscar. Golden Derby says Tony Erdmann has a 46% chance of winning, and that A Man Called Irv or whatever has essentially, no chance. So two of the leading indicators, two of the best sites for deciding what you're going to pick for these categories are completely going in different directions. The only one that they have in common as having a chance is The Salesman.
So I went with The Salesman because it's the same director who did A Separation, which people super loved. And also the director is boycotting the Oscars because of the Muslim ban. And I thought maybe there'd be like a political thing in play here.
You know what? I was actually thinking about coming back to this category, maybe changing my vote. But now that you've told me that, that's my pick. That's locked in.
Damn it.
The Academy Awards is not going to miss the chance of somebody from the Academy coming up and saying, well, what's his name would be here. But he's not because of the Muslim ban. Band. The Muslim band, not the Muslim band.
No, I love the Muslim band.
They're the greatest.
I bought all their albums.
They do the best Beatles cover. This side of Damascus. All right, so
what's next?
Let's film editing.
I picked. This usually goes with Best Picture winner, so I went with La La Land.
All right. Okay, best documentary short subject.
Okay, this one I was torn. This was tough.
Yeah. Because
I think White Helmets has the momentum.
Oh, really?
But Joe's Violin is about a Holocaust survivor.
No! I didn't even know that.
But I went with White Helmets anyway.
So here's the thing.
Yeah.
Golden Derby has Extremis at 53%.
Oh, well, there you go. Maybe I'm way off.
Variety picks Joe's Violin, and the movie in second place at 28% on Golden Derby is Joe's Violin.
There you go.
Then there's White Helmets that Variety has in second place and is at 21%. So I'm going with Joe's Violin, and now that you told me the Holocaust thing, that one's locked in.
All right.
So now we're in deep trouble.
Now we're seeing.
I think all of our movies are going to be
one difference.
Where?
Right? Is that our only one?
Is what our only one?
Documentary short? That's our only difference?
No, we're both going with Joe's Violin, right?
No, I'm going with White Helmet.
Oh! Wow, that could be it. Okay, good. Yes, that's our one difference.
There we go. We got one.
So I think it's nearly certain at this point that we are going to have to watch the Oscars for 5 minutes to figure out who wins our poll.
Right. We could just watch like the opening, like song and dance, and then leave and come back for documentary short.
Documentary short. Who is it? Hey, Extremis win. Oh, wait a minute.
Now we're both screwed.
Just realize that.
That would be awesome.
All right. Okay.
Documentary feature.
Documentary feature. OJ Made in America because, and here's the other thing. We've talked about this before. We talked about this when we did the Golden Globes, and this is my number one gripe, or it's becoming my number one gripe, is the Oscars are such a ridiculous mixture of different acting styles, depending on the role, depending on the script, depending on the performance, judging one acting job or performance against another one is just ridiculous.
Right.
Plus, judging a deep comedy and a Holocaust story and a true life drama or whatever is ridiculous. What they should do is just give Oscars to all of the people who were good enough to get nominated. And,
right.
And here is the reason I'm saying that here is I am convinced that if OJ Made in America was nominated for Best Picture, it would win hands down. It won for the, it's won.
Well, it won like the Producers Guild.
It won
right?
the Directors Guild, the Producers Guild, the Writers Guild. It won the.
Did it win the Writers Guild?
Yeah, just won for. I think it was for long form.
I think that was for The People versus O.J. Simpson.
Okay, then I might be wrong. It won for editing. The Editing Guild won.
It's because it's an amazing documentary.
It is. Well, that's the thing.
I do worry that they will think it's more of a TV show than a movie.
Maybe, but
and if that's true, then I think the 13th could be the upset here. But I'm still going with OJ.
Yeah. Well, see, is the 13th. The way most people know the 13th is watching it on Netflix. They saw it on
Netflix.
So yeah, OJ Made in America. If you really want to look at all the different branches that have given it awards, it is a lock. It is almost a better lock than Viola Davis winning in supporting actress. This OJ Made in America is the best movie of last year. That's it. My wife has watched it like 3 times. It's like 7 hours long.
It's because it's amazing.
It is amazing.
We've talked about it so many times on our show because I think it's crazy what this person did. Like what was his name?
Ezra Edelman.
Yes. He interviews all these people. He goes through all this footage and you have to edit it together to tell a story. There is no script, really.
Yeah. No, it's
an amazing achievement.
Yeah. So, Ezra Edelman, thank God he produced it also, so he can get the Oscar if they win. All right, directing.
Damien Chazelle for La La Land, but I wouldn't rule out a Barry Jenkins upset, but I'm still going with Damien Chazelle.
Well, Damien Chazelle won Directors Guild, and he's #1 pick for Variety, and according to Golden Derby, Damien Chazelle has a 6% chance of winning. So it's possible.
Damien Chazelle has a 6% chance of winning?
No. Moonlight has a 6% chance
of winning. All right. There you go.
So there's that. Costume design.
I just feel like lately the Oscars had loved to like split up that award.
Yeah, maybe.
So between picture and director, so
it could be, but I think La La Land had such a head of steam now.
Yeah.
And there's nothing. Well, actually, you know what? And there's nothing else that could take it. But that might be different. I think we saw something interesting from the SAG recently that might upset this. Cinematography, who'd you pick?
Let's see. La La Land.
Best animated feature film.
I think it should be Kubo, but I'm going with Zootopia.
I'm going with Zootopia also, as everyone else seems to, including the Academy Animation, etc., etc.
If I'm wrong about any award on Sunday night, I hope it's this one. I really wish. I think Kubo is an awesome, amazing movie. Zootopia is very good too, though.
Yeah, Zootopia.
Zootopia is not Angry Birds. It's a good movie. I don't want to sound like it's not a good movie. Yeah, it's a good movie.
It is. There's something about it that I can't fall. I haven't fallen in love with that. I've watched it in the theaters, and I think I've tried to watch it once on Netflix.
Yeah.
It is good, but it's just not I don't know. There's something keeping me from just flipping out for it. Actress in a supporting role, Viola Davis.
Yes.
We're all agreed. Actor in a
Yes.
supporting role.
Marshala Ali.
That's right.
But I'm all, Dev Patel from Lion. Doesn't he have kind of some momentum right now?
He does, but the thing is, from my point of view, I like him in that role. I don't think he was leaping off the screen fantastic. I actually thought the kid that played him for the first hour of the movie,
Yeah.
and I don't know the name of that kid, but Sweet Christmas, that kid is a great actor. Like, just unbelievably good. And
I remember when
ridiculously
Jeffrey Rush won Best Actor for Shine, and I remember thinking, like, well, actually, the guy who played the younger version was so great.
Yeah.
And, like, it's almost like Jeffrey Rush got the award by, like, just being tied to the first guy's performance. I don't even remember his name.
Yeah.
It was like Noah something. Or...
Yeah. He's gone on to do some other stuff, none of which I can remember here. So that's my depth.
Well, we have a difference here with Best Actor.
Best Actor. All right. Oh yeah. Oh hey. I think we might. Who's your choice?
I went with Denzel Washington.
Sweet Christmas. I guess we don't have a difference.
You know what? At one point, I thought this was Casey Affleck's to lose.
And apparently it is. But
then Denzel Washington won the Screen Actors Guild Award.
Which is a huge indicator.
Yes. And then, like, I don't know, there's been, like, a lot of, like, stuff about Casey Affleck coming out that people don't like and they don't want to vote for him. Because then it looks like you're condoning, like, his bad behavior or whatever. So... or whatever. It would look like you're condoning his bad behavior.
That's right.
So
even though you're not, you're actually condoning his performance. But I understand the logic.
And people love Denzel Washington, and he's awesome.
Exactly. That's the thing. Is when in doubt, give it to Denzel. If there's nobody around and has he done a voiceover on a Chrysler commercial or something, just give it to him.
It'd be awesome to see Ryan Gosling win, but I understand.
Yeah, and apparently Ryan Gosling is in third, according to
just for the combination of La La Land and The Nice Guys. I would go with Ryan Gosling. But The Nice Guys, by the way, I just watched that like last week. What an awesome movie.
Yeah, no, that's a fantastic movie.
It was so funny and just so good. Anyway.
Shane Black is great. I remember a time when Shane Black was despised as some sort of hacky action movie writer, and now look at where he's come. Look at what he is. People are understanding that Lethal Weapon was a fantastic, fantastic start to an amazing career. Anyway, actor in leading role. Okay, yeah, so we're not different there. Best Picture.
La La Land.
Here's the thing.
You're going to pick
La La Land.
Okay.
But Hidden Figures, correct me if I'm wrong, Sonia, Hidden Figures won for SAG.
Yeah, so I didn't even factor that in, and here's why. Because I didn't think they didn't nominate La La Land for ensemble, because really it came down to two people.
That's true.
And it's not weird for the Screen Actors Guild to give awards to movies with big casts.
That's true.
Like Traffic.
That's
didn't
true.
Traffic win, I think?
It might have.
Crash probably won, but it won the Oscar too.
Exactly. So I'm just putting this out there that Hidden Figures has been going up and up and up in esteem. La La Land has been lauded since last summer, and there's been a lot of talk of the La La Land backlash, etc., etc. Don't be surprised, or don't be shocked if Hidden Figures slips in there and takes it.
I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't think it's going to happen either, but I'm just saying this we should probably pay attention to this.
I really enjoyed Hidden Figures. I think it's a very entertaining, interesting movie about a story I was not familiar with.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say that like 3 months from now, no one's going to remember Hidden Figures. They're just not.
What? You're insane.
They're not.
They are. 3 months from now? Maybe
no
10
one's going to
years.
be talking about Hidden Figures a year from now.
No, oh, Sonia Mansfield, how could you be so racially insensitive? My God, these were
I
important
wasn't
women
being.
that had.
I'm not being racially insensitive. I'm
Oh,
just
I think
saying
I think
that
we
it's
can all see what you're saying.
Yes, I'm a huge racist. Everyone says that about me. Whatever. I'm just saying La La Land is a better movie that people
No,
will still be talking about
I
a
agree.
year from now.
I think the reason I'm pushing back on this is I think that there's I don't want to say an underground. I think there's a definite swell of inspiration that is coming from Hidden Figures in a way that I think maybe you and I might be a little blind to. I think it does. I think
I'm
it
not
does.
being blind to it. I know that our culture right now is to make everything political.
That's true.
So it's like, oh, what a surprise. The 40-something white lady really likes La La Land and thinks it's going to win. And she doesn't pick Moonlight or Hidden Figures. I really like Hidden Figures.
Mm-hmm.
I super loved Moonlight. I think it's an awesome movie. If it won, I'd be like, that's great.
Yeah.
It's not what I think is going to win.
Yeah,
That's
no,
all.
I agree. All I'm pushing back on is the statement that no one's going to remember Hidden Figures in 3 months. I think you're wrong. But
I just think the movie's fine. That's all. It's a good movie,
which in your defense,
but it's not a like, woohoo, yay, Hidden Figures. I super love it. I watch it all the time.
In your
movie.
defense, now I'm going to come to your defense against me. I think that was essentially my review of Hidden Figures. I think when we talked about it, in that it's a relatively rote, relatively paint by the numbers, historical drama.
I really enjoyed it. It is a feel good movie.
I think you're protesting too much now, but no, that's all right.
You're being ridiculous.
I am. I'm taking my one chance to come at you from the left. I'm doing it.
It is your one. Yes, because everyone talks about what a horrible conservative racist I am.
Suffice it to say, neither one of us, mostly me, are racist.
Yes.
All right. So that is our Oscar pool and
I think these
strangely
picks are
awkward
probably
detour
pretty
into what was that?
I think these picks are pretty official, but we're going to post them on our blog before the show on Sunday.
Yeah.
And apparently it's all going to come down to documentary short.
You know what? I really think it is. And you know what? Here's what we're going to have to do. We're just going to have to take the tie and go next year. That's it.
I guess so.
We're going to have to do it. Or we're going to have to do some weird thing like where one of... No, we can't do that. Ugh. See,
We're going to have to think, maybe we could think of a tiebreaker. Or maybe we just roll a 20-sided die.
No, we can't do that.
No, it's got to be based on skill.
That's the thing. It does have to be based on skill. You know what? We'll get back to you.
Yeah.
Listeners, if you have any idea how we can break a tie for our Oscar pool, if it should come down to that, watch this. We're gonna get our clocks cleaned. It's gonna be like 11 out of 24. You know why?
Because we're on a podcast bragging about how awesome we are at
That's
this.
right.
And now we're gonna suck so hard.
That's
and
right.
Like Hidden Figures is gonna win everything.
That would be so sweet. You know what? For the purposes
How
of...
did Robert De Niro win for Dirty Grandpa? He wasn't even nominated.
Right. For the purposes of good storytelling and cosmic karma, I really hope Hidden Figures wins now. I really, really do. I hope Octavia Spencer wins. I hope it's a Hidden Figures sweep.
Oh, by the way, if she wins, that's a huge upset, and that's telling you how the night's going.
That's right. Actually, you know what? This is probably where we should leave it. I think that's one of the first. That's the first big award at the beginning of the night.
They usually do supporting actress or actor, but
that's right.
It might be actress first, actually.
All right, so there we go. Okay, so those are our choices. If you would like to share your choices with us, go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/dorkingoutshow. Now, the thing is, in order to play, you have to pick all 24. You can't just go, oh, here's my actor, actress, director, best picture. Those are my picks. No, you gotta play. You gotta really do it.
Yep. You can comment on the blog too.
That's right. You can comment on the blog too.
Facebook or blog.
That's right.
Do it.
When we come back,
come on, you guys, kick our ass. Come on.
Do it.
We deserve it.
I think we've all listened to this segment. You know whose bottom needs to get kicked.
Smith's.
Both of ours. Come on. When we come back, Scott Daigle and the man with the most space cowboy name in the history of space cowboy names, Coryon Redd, are going to be joining us to pitch movies to Sonia Mansfield, the new president of Dorking Out Studios, and we're going to see whose movie she buys.
Miss Mansfield will see you now.
Want more Dorking Out? Well, there's a few simple things you can do. First, go to iTunes and give us your 5-star rating and review. This helps us find new listeners. Next, be a good friend and share like your mommy told you to. Simply go to dorkingoutshow.com and you'll find some links to our show, which you can post to your Facebook, Twitter, or wherever fine social media links are shared. It's an easy way to impress your friends and make your enemies green with envy. Which is really the point of social media anyway, isn't it? After all, listening to any of the Dorking Out shows means that you're a modern trendsetter. We know, because if audience research has shown anything, it's that the Dorking Out show audience is smarter, more attractive, and less susceptible to baseless flattery than any other audience in the podcasting world. That means that you're the best. It's right here, in the data, which is totally real and not made up in any way. So share our show. You can talk about it with your friends, and we can get new listeners, which means you get more shows. It's the circle of life modified to include podcasting. Point is, please rate us on iTunes and tell your friends. Now, back to the show.
That brings us to another edition of Dorking Out Studios. One of my favorite segments in this show where we pretend to pitch movies to the fictional Dorking Out Studios and as ideas of what we would do if we had the money to make an actual show. But this week, we are having in a couple of guests, and we are changing it up quite a bit, so I think it might be pretty fun for longtime listeners of the show.
I'll be the judge of that.
That's right. She will be the judge of that, but more on that here in a second. Joining us today is video producer Raymond Scott Daigle.
Hello, sir.
He is going to be pitching against me and our new friend of the podcast, Coryon Redd. He is going to be pitching. We are actually turning this somewhat into a game. I blamed Coryon for this. I talked to him about having him on the show a little while ago, and pretty soon he had taken one of our favorite segments and remade it in a James T. Kirk-like fashion so he could game the system.
Maru, I know where you go with that.
That's right.
And
so
Sonia, I just wanted to see, did you get the flowers and chocolate I sent?
Because
I did get them, and I threw them right in the trash. That stuff's not going to work with me.
So
this may go harder than I
Just
thought.
kidding. I gave them to my assistant.
So as you might have noticed, last time we did this, Sonia and I pitched ideas that we thought would be cool. This time, Coryon, Scott, and myself are all going to be pitching to the head of Dorking Out Studios, Sonia Mansfield, and she is actually going to be deciding. She is the winner. We are going to be each pitching 3 movies, and then Sonia is going to be picking 5.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Why 5?
I don't know. Are you no longer in the...
Pick the one!
Well, I just thought maybe I could just pick the one I like.
Oh, snap.
There we
She
go.
did get the flowers.
This might be
She did get the flowers.
bloody. So, now another interesting thing, and I'm going to leave this to our illustrious studio head to tell us this, is she has given us, in the last 5 minutes, a list of actors that she would like to see in the movie, actors and actresses she would like to see in the movies, and a list of actors and actresses that are blacklisted, that will not appear in any movie made by Dorking Out Studios, as well as a list of directors who will not direct any movies made for Dorking Out Studios. So,
And let's be clear at the obvious thought that went behind this. When taking away actors like Bryan Cranston and giving us Jackie Chan. Thank you for that.
that's right.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I was just going to say before Coryon so rudely interrupted, and I would like you to keep that in mind, President of Dorking Out Studios, when you make these choices. Would you please read the complete list of whitelisted and blacklisted actors and directors?
While we're using the term blacklisted, I'd like to make it clear that I'm not, no one's on this list due to political affiliations. This is just my list.
Yeah, no, they're on these lists to make it difficult.
Yes, pretty much. Okay, so actors and actresses that I would like to see in my movie are Amy Adams, Melissa McCarthy, Angela Bassett, Mindy Kaling, and Haley Steinfeld. Idris Elba, Jackie Chan. That's right, Jackie Chan. Edward Norton, John Goodman, and Eddie Murphy. Actors and actresses who are blacklisted, and this is where I really tried to screw with you guys.
Yeah.
Bryan Cranston, Tom Hanks,
Who
Ryan Gosling.
blocks Tom Hanks? What kind of monster have you become in that town, Sonia Mansfield?
Just so you know, that killed 3 of my pitches.
Awesome. Chris Pratt, Robert Downey Jr., Meryl Streep, Jennifer Lawrence, Emma Stone, Scarlett Johansson, and Charlize Theron.
Because apparently Dorking Out Studios doesn't want any Oscars.
I don't like big stars. No. The directors you can't work with are Christopher Nolan, Damien Chazelle, J.J. Abrams, Steven Spielberg, and Quentin Tarantino. And the 5 movies I'm looking for, well, it could be any. I guess I'm just going to pick one. Are we thinking maybe I'll just pick one?
We'll do whatever you want to do. Picking one.
But we're going to pitch things outside of those then, because you may think you're looking for a horror comedy, for example, but may realize that there are other ones that could pique your interest.
You'll see. So the genres I'm interested in are a romantic drama, a thriller, a horror comedy, a musical, or a western.
You have the most difficult job in Hollywood, President Mansfield, and I just want you to know that I have always enjoyed, back to the 1930s, the product that Dorking Out Studios has put into the marketplace, and to have you at the head of such an illustrious studio, I just think is great.
Oh, God.
And just seeing it used to be you versus Howard Corman, and you were able to beat out on the Howard Corman films. Well done. I will also echo that. Well done.
You guys are disgusting. You disgust me.
I know.
I think I'll just pick one.
All right, Coryon, I believe that you are up first.
Great. Well, I look forward to the challenge of that. Sonia, thank you for having me in today. I have been working so hard to find something that's the best fit for the audience of the Dorking Out show, and I've got a movie that's going to make millions of dollars with Star Trek versus Star Wars. Because this debate has been going on so long about which universe would win, and whether midi-chlorians are really just a Star Trek technology after all. So, of course, they're totally different time frames. We know that Star Trek's set in the future. Star Wars is distant galaxy, time long ago. But we're going to have Star Trek take that twist around the sun, maybe a dense dwarf star, and go back to the Star Wars land. And I can see from the look on Chris's face that this is probably one of the worst ideas ever. So my movie
keep going.
Actually about the making of this movie. Howard is a Silicon Valley executive. His favorite dirty passion is to go into the comic book store that's owned by Patton Oswalt and inevitably, they're at a magic game in the back. They hear people having this debate over Star Trek versus Star Wars, and they kind of get drawn into the debate, and they realize that they have this parallel passion with Howard being a fanatic Star Wars person from a tech company that never really comes out with anything that's groundbreaking, but has a lot of good intentions. And Chet, the owner of the comic book store, played again by Patton Oswalt, who mainly wants to just make sure it's done right. He's already worked up the makeup on this script. So they go on from there. Soon the script is leaked, and the Star Wars fans start the rebellion. They realize that this script that allows Star Trek to win in the end is absolutely implausible. So they start the rebellion, led by Melissa McCarthy as Leia, to bring them together and demolish this terrible idea. So it could be Star Trek versus Star Wars, but at this point, people are going to come out in droves for Trek Wars.
Time's up.
That was Trek Wars by Coryon.
Who plays Howard?
Ed Norton.
Who did you originally have in mind?
I was, because of the format of this, leaving that a little bit open to improvisation.
And butt kissing.
But Ed Norton, being the Silicon Valley executive, just so you know, the name of his company is TechWan, but it's known around the industry as TechWank.
Mm-hmm. I see.
I love School Marm Sonia.
This doesn't, not really a romantic drama, a thriller, a horror comedy, a musical, or a Western.
It's a comedy directed by Kevin Smith, if we can get him. I've been talking to him, and it looks like he's interested. This is the kind of thing he likes.
It's pretty hard to get Kevin Smith these days.
I once blew his little brother. We got a bond going.
I'm sorry, did I say that out loud?
What?
I'm sorry, what?
Come on, he's willing to drop his podcast for a week and direct this.
That's right. I don't know if you could get him. He's busy directing episodes of The Flash, I guess?
Yeah.
He's doing something.
No, but it's mainly because I went to college with Patton Oswalt, and he's friends with Kevin Smith, so that's why I think I can be able to bring him in on this.
Well, I will decide who comes on.
Oh, boy.
So who is next?
That would be you, Smith.
Is it? Are you sure?
Yes.
All right. I guess I'm going to start mine. Mine is a romantic drama. It is called Powerhouse, the story of CAA. This is a movie set up kind of like Steve Jobs in that it has 3 sections. This is the story of the Creative Arts Agency. Part 1 is the two brothers in arms, 2 young agents back in the 70s, played by Michael Ovitz, played by Ed Norton, and Ron Meyer, played by Bill Hader, strike out on their own from an old stodgy William Morris. They want to start their own company. They start out, they're going to conquer Hollywood together. Segment 2 takes place in the late 80s. It's where Michael Ovitz is getting more and more powerful. Their kind of equal brotherhood thing is starting to fray a little bit because Michael's getting more and more hungry for power. Ron is kind of the very nice guy, glad-handing guy, loved around Hollywood. This section has Kate Hudson playing Goldie Hawn, Channing Tatum playing Arnold Schwarzenegger on the set of Twins, Peter Dinklage playing Danny DeVito, Adam Driver playing Robert Zemeckis, and Jim Carrey playing Christopher Lloyd, and Tom Holland playing Michael J. Fox. What's interesting about this section of the movie is they had a big power play where they were going to keep Back to the Futures 2 and 3 from being made. While this is going on, Amy Adams playing Ally McGraw is falling in love with Bill Hader's Ron Meyer. So they are in love, but the pressures of Hollywood are kind of tearing them apart and making it a little bit difficult. Then, section 3 is
You're over your 2 minutes.
I am, but you have got to listen. You've got to listen to this because the ending of this movie is just mwah.
I don't know. You're over your 2 minutes. I have to go to lunch.
Okay, but you're not gonna want to miss this because if I'll take it to another studio and they'll buy it, and I'm telling you, you're gonna love this. So
No,
I
you
think
should
the question
go ahead
is-
and try taking it to another studio.
All right, as Michael Ovitz is destroying the reputation of CAA in Hollywood, they're desperate to get him out, so they try to get him to take the job at Universal. He is...
If this is all based on a true story, then I already know how it ends.
All right, how does it end?
You're taking up my time.
All right.
Snap.
So...
also, Hollywood stories are so played out.
Well, we'll see, because I think this would be fantastic. I think this would be a hell of a story, and to watch these two, Ed Norton and Bill Hader, become brothers, live through that era of Hollywood, and then watch Ron Meyer take the job at Universal that Michael Ovitz was wanting, stabbing him in the back, I think would be fantastic. But stabbing a monster in the back, I think that's compelling drama.
Are you still pitching the same movie?
I am pitching this movie because I believe in this movie. It's a great movie. How are you going to make a movie without believing in it down to your bones? I am telling you, this movie right now would be fantastic. Powerhouse, the story of CAA. That's my pitch. That's my first pitch.
The people listening to the podcast, can you even remember what the movie is about at this point?
That was a bulletproof pitch. I'm telling you, some Aaron Sorkin style.
I don't care if you pitch that idea for 20 minutes. I still wouldn't like it.
Oh, man.
I guess it's Scott's turn then.
I just came up with this idea.
Come on, Scott. Give me something good.
All right. This just came to me. What I've got here for you is something really fantastic. It's going to require a very small budget because it works with all the actors you've already got in your stable right now. I'm talking about a remake of the Cannonball Run with a Fast and Furious sort of bent to it, but hold on, it's also a musical. You've got Melissa McCarthy, you've got Amy Adams, you've got Eddie Murphy, you've got Angela Bassett, and returning in a now Elon Musk-esque role is Jackie Chan from the original, who's also directing. You're also going to have driving, you're going to have action, you're going to have singing, you're going to have stunts with songs by Lin-Manuel Miranda, including such future hits as Get Your Hands Off My Gear Shift, Peel Out, and Why Kansas. I think that we can have this thing ready, lensed, cut, and ready to go for Christmas of this coming year. That's the pitch. That's it.
Wow, does he get extra points for giving you an idea that's so thin he only used half his time?
That's high concept, Smith. You've heard of it?
Wait, Jackie Chan's high concept? And was he in the original?
Mister.
Was he?
Let me tell you.
He was.
Saying Jackie Chan's in the original Cannonball Run?
Yes, he is.
Yes,
he is?
Yeah, this is weak.
Yes.
And actually,
I stand corrected, but I'm still enraged by your movie idea.
well, you might be enraged, but correct me if I'm wrong, President Mansfield. Cannonball Run is secretly one of your favorite movies.
That is not true.
Oh, all right. I must be thinking of someone else then.
You are definitely thinking of someone else. But I like this idea the best so far.
Jesus. I mean...
And I came up with it 5 minutes ago.
That's very wise. Yeah, I can tell. I think it's apparent to every single listener of this podcast right now.
That's how hits are made, baby.
Well, I don't care what you guys think. I'm the head of the studio. I think it's a good idea. I'm interested.
Coryon, it's up to you. Now that you've made this stupid 2-minute rule that's screwing up all the pitches, except for Scott's, you're going to have to go. All right, 2 minutes, go.
Madam President, thanks again for having me in. I've got the perfect movie for Dorking Out Studios with Paper Box, a romantic drama starring Winona Ryder, Idris Elba, and Ryan Reynolds, with Winona Ryder being a troubled soul with the benefit and the curse of hypermnesia, which is sometimes called highly superior autobiographical memory. The challenge is that she's got great memories in her life that happened as if they were yesterday, but every day, most people accumulate a bag full of garbage. During the course of the day, it just gets bigger and bigger, but you go to sleep at night, you wake up the next day, it's gone. But for her, her life is surrounded by these bags of garbage. So she's been a seeker trying to figure out the way to deal with the estrangement of her son, where her controlling nature and trying to be driven against her ex-husband, played by John Goodman, who is just a free-for-all, free spirit, but made it so difficult that finally she kicked her son out of the house. She's lost contact with him, and that's every day. That's like yesterday. So she's done guided therapy and hypnosis and talk therapy, but she goes to a week-long retreat and she meets Nate, who is kind of a whimsical spirit himself, played by Ryan Reynolds, and Rob, played by Idris Elba, who is an Afghan vet who's suffering from PTSD, working to try to make every moment the best. So sometimes his philosophy and way to try to find meaning is what can really have guidance for her. He teaches her that you can take those memories, put them in a paper box, and put them away so that you don't have to deal with them. They escape from the retreat, and the adventure is something I can answer in my follow-up.
You can hear a pin drop.
Yeah. So I always take that as a good sign. Were you applauding on the inside, Sonia?
No. I wasn't.
So the key idea of this movie is the interplay of these strong actors and strong characters to help her essentially go back and try to find her estranged son and make things right, create a new memory that instead of living with the hard memory every day of that fight that drove him away, replacing with something different. But it doesn't always work that simply.
Who do you think we should get to direct this movie?
I've looked through a couple of different options, but I'm thinking with the success of Silver Linings Playbook that David O. Russell is my leading choice at this point.
Okay. I'm ready for the next one.
All right. The next one is a musical directed by Robert Zemeckis, starring Haley Stansfield. It's called The Rooftop, and it's the story of a young BBC producer who is filling in for a sick friend on the day that the Beatles play their last public concert on the rooftop in the 1970s. What's going on is the band, essentially, as she's trying to prepare the recording and the filming of their last concert, she is kind of witnessing what a lot of the public doesn't really know yet, which is that the Beatles are breaking up. This band that she loves, this band that's meant so much to the 60s, is kind of breaking up, and she's got to go between Paul McCartney, John Lennon, George Harrison, Ringo Starr, and to keep them kind of all on task and to keep this great moment of music history happening. So she's kind of like this little fish in a big pond watching this kind of series of icons play through the end of the 60s, play through the end of their friendships. In this, Paul McCartney would be played by Nicholas Hoult. John Lennon would be played by James McAvoy. George Harrison would be played by Russell Brand. Ringo Starr would be played by Shia LaBeouf. And George Martin would be played by Daniel Radcliffe. So this is essentially the end of the Beatles, the end of the 60s, and kind of a bittersweet musical with some of the greatest music ever written, with the Let It Be album. So that is my pitch.
I would just like to point out that the music rights alone for that film will cost more than the salary for most of the actors in there.
Well, it might, unless you get Paul McCartney or Yoko Ono to help produce it.
Because Yoko Ono is always on. Yeah, she's easy to work with, I hear.
She's worked with me before.
That's right. I think if I were you, Scott, I would keep the sexism at a minimum. But that's just me.
I see where you're going.
Japanese. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Nice
Yeah.
My racism and sexism sometimes gets confused.
So does apparently Scott's, because he hit them both right there. But whatever. It's your choice, Scott. It's up to you. Do you have any other questions about The Rooftop?
Not yet.
All right, Scott.
All right. Again, I'm not even sure if I'm going to need the whole 2 minutes for this. This is expensive, but I think it's going to be interesting. I think you're going to be really interested in this one. So we use CGI, computer graphic images. We're really good at destroying things with that. We've destroyed civilizations time and over again, but we haven't really used it to build anything. And I think what the screen is really hungry for is a big, massive 3D spectacle designed film about the building of the Golden Gate Bridge. We'll start with the devastating earthquake in 1904, in which the entire city is almost completely leveled. And then moving into the area where the city is just about rebuilt its whole self, except there's this stretch over the Golden Gate that hasn't been forged yet. You're going to have Kevin Costner as Joseph Strauss, the designer, who has more or less he's the dog that's caught the bus, and he's not really sure he's got the job, but he's not really sure how to do it. And he enlists Leonardo DiCaprio as Irving Morrow, the guy who actually designed the bridge, gave it the Art Deco kind of feel to it. It's a man versus nature film, and we'll be designing it to get the most out of a 3D, more like an Avatar kind of thing, where we'll actually design it to be in 3D. And that's it. It's that simple. It's going to be amazing.
Doesn't really fall under any of the genres I'm asking
No,
for.
it's outside the box.
I see.
This is the film you don't know you want.
I know what I want.
I'm just saying. We all think we do.
You trying to tell her what she thinks, Scott?
Sounds to me,
trying to
yeah.
tell
Well
her-
played, Scott. Well
I'm
played.
just trying to let her know that there's this amazing nugget. See, I didn't even need all that time.
That's
There's
right.
this
You didn't.
amazing picture. You didn't even know you wanted it, and there it is.
That's a little too like
Right
you
for the
think my
picture.
no is a yes.
I know your no is a yes. We all know. You want your no. Right now, you're thinking, how do I turn my no into a yes and not lose face? I
Scott, you
understand
sound
that
like
love
the
it.
producer of a series of great date rape films.
I'm
Scott,
just saying. What?
are you telling the august president of Dorking Out Studios what she thinks?
You know, sometimes everybody needs to know what they think. And sometimes I'm the person to tell them.
I think I've
You
changed what
know,
I'm going to
not
pitch.
only am I not
Maybe-
liking this idea, I'm starting to like your other one less.
My movie pitch is about a movie called Roofies.
Jesus.
Hey, you got to be aggressive in this business. It's true.
That's right. All right. So, Coryon, I believe we're at your last pitch.
I will use part of my pitch here just to kind of set the stage that we were told, hey, you know, ways to come up with these ideas, Sonia, to impress you in Dorking Out Studios could be original ideas, which obviously we've heard some clankers for those today, and also the idea of adapting a book or a remake. And I like Scott's idea, come up with a flag for Cannonball Run. So I'm thinking there's a movie that I loved as a kid, just seeing what it means to be a man. If you ever seen Ben-Hur, it's a fantastic movie. So that's my pitch, is to remake Ben-Hur. We're going to do John Goodman.
You know they already remade Ben-Hur, right?
No, let him finish,
Like in
Sonia.
August.
Let him go down this road.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, so
What else
I
you
got another
for your
remake. Hold
2
on, I'm going
minutes
to keep
are
with
up?
remakes. Sam Raimi went on to direct Spider-Man. People don't know that his first film was a college project called Evil Dead. That I really think there's some core elements in that storyline and that plot that really could use
excuse me.
updating.
Sam Raimi remade Evil Dead last year.
No, but keep going, Coryon. Hey, let's
please.
let Coryon finish. Keep going. No, these ideas are great. Keep
Well, I
going.
was going to call it Evil Dead 2. Does that help? Because instead of like you see
No,
the
Evil
twist there?
Dead 2 is actually a remake of Evil Dead 1 the first time around.
Really?
But go ahead.
Hold on.
So it's
Okay.
already been remade twice, but
So you mentioned-
third time's a
Hey,
charm.
who's counting?
Playing the role
Who's
of
counting these?
Arnold
I guess
Schwarzenegger
it
from
was a good
Twins.
idea. That's why they did it.
I'm thinking Conan the Barbarian, because there were some scenes that clearly with some CGI, you know, they've had the blood splatter on the camera. You don't have to actually do that anymore. And, you know, Chris Pratt would be ideal for that. And I was thinking Christopher Nolan could direct it. And I'm thinking that maybe,
Okay, well, all those people are on my blacklist.
is it better if it's a musical though? If it's a musical, it's how about,
Time's
okay,
up.
I want to remake Jaws. That's my pitch. Can you put that in? That's mine at the last minute. I want him to remake Jaws.
No.
They remade Jaws 4 times.
Casablanca?
They've already remade Casablanca as
okay.
Pamela Anderson's
Round 3
Barbed
may have been
wire.
a challenge for me, but okay. That's fine.
We'll see. All right.
Wasn't that Allied? Was the remake of Casablanca?
All right, Smith, what's your final pitch?
My final pitch is a little bit outside the box, but I think you're going to like it. This pivots Dorking Out Studios from not just big screen movies, but HBO miniseries. This also takes a page from Richard Linklater's Boyhood and Before Sunrise, in that it's a multi-decade project of filmmaking. It is a adaptation of Larry McMurtry's Lonesome Dove series, where each book is a 10-part miniseries, and you make one miniseries every 7 to 10 years. So as the actors grow up, they grow through the series of books. There's 4 books that span from the 1840s to the 1890s. It stars Chris Pine as Woodrow Call, Zac Efron as Augustus McCrae, Amy Adams as Clara Forsyth, Eddie Murphy as P.I. Parker, Jackie Chan as Joshua Dietz. We'd have to do a little bit of tweaking. I think at the time that Larry McMurtry wrote these, they might not have been as sensitive to the Chinese-American experience in the Old West.
As long as it's not Japanese, I'm fine with it.
That's right. Oh, I'm glad. Edward Norton as Jake Spoon, the charismatic Jake Spoon that gambles a little too much and comes to a hard end. And John Goodman as famed, legendary cattle herder Charles Goodnight. So that's my pitch. Lonesome Dove on HBO, 10-part series for each book, 4 books. I think that would be fantastic.
They already did a Lonesome Dove miniseries, though.
They did, and it was great. But now that they have all the series written out, you could have actors go from young Gus and Woodrow all the way up to old, and shooting it in a Boyhood type fashion or in a Before Sunrise type fashion, where you come back with the same actors to the same characters over a large span of time, I think would be electric. My time is up, but I feel good about that pitch. Lonesome Dove on HBO.
And can I just, for the record, just say that Lonesome Dove is going to be electric.
That's right.
Electric.
It is.
Ever overplay your case there, Chris?
No, I haven't. I feel good. It's one of the greatest miniseries ever made, now making it on HBO, the home of Deadwood, with today's 10-part... No, this is the ideal expression of Lonesome Dove. The Lonesome Dove saga. One of the greatest Old West stories ever told in American letters. Yeah, I'm feeling good.
I'm glad you're feeling good. Scott, what's your pick?
What's my pick?
Your
my
pitch.
Pitch.
Yeah, my pitch.
No, he...
All right, so my last pitch is it's a film adaptation of a book by Terry Brooks, who's currently enjoying some success on MTV with his Shannara series, called Magic Kingdom for Sale, Sold. This story, in the same way that Cocoon in the 80s was a giant hit because it took a sci-fi genre and aimed it at a different audience, this takes the sword and sorcery genre and aims it towards a much older audience. Film follows Ben Holliday, who's a widowed lawyer who's grieving the loss of his wife. He's just about gotten over when a Sears and Roebuck style catalog that his wife used to buy from arrives. He's flipping through it and finds a full-page color ad for a Magic Kingdom that he could buy. He thinks it's ridiculous, but he can't take his eyes off it. Long story short, it turns out to be a real place that he can buy, which he does, and he goes, and the place is a total disaster area because the old king's brother has been selling this kingdom over and over and over, and people have been coming and playing king. But Ben decides that he's going to clean the place up against the evil goblin lord, who has decided that that's enough. He's taking over the place. You've got Dwayne Johnson, who's going to be playing Ben Holliday. You've got Christopher Lloyd as the long-suffering wizard Quester, who's going to help Ben Holliday. You've also got Amy Adams playing the Willow, the nature goddess, who's also going to help Ben Holliday. and Jack Black as the voice of Abernathy, a court squire who Quester had turned into a dog many years ago. That's it.
So this also doesn't fall into any of the genres I picked.
Well, that's you. I had to bring.
I'm starting to think you guys don't respect my list.
I'm starting to think he just is not listening to you at all. I, however, have listened to you with my Lonesome Dove pitch right up there with the Western.
I gave you a musical action comedy.
And I can remake any film as a musical Western.
Apparently, he's going to be remaking all
Jaws
of them
is a musical Western.
Several times.
The soundtrack to the remake of Cannonball Run will probably make back your entire production budget.
Casablanca is a horror comedy.
All right, can I have a few moments to make my decision?
Sure, of course you can. You don't need to ask us. You're the president of Dorking Out Studios.
Okay.
You don't need to ask anybody anything.
All right. Well, then I'll just sit back and let you guys talk amongst yourselves.
This 2 minutes, not to second guess the setup here, but this 2 minutes of pitching is 3 minutes.
Yeah, way to go, Coryon.
Yeah, way to go, Coryon. You blew it for all of us. You tried to set this up in such a way that it was going to be easy for you, but between...
Let's just say that again. Let's just repeat that last statement. Easy for him.
That's right.
No. But you guys did wonderfully. I'm glad you competed. I look forward to any consolation comments you want me to make to you later. It's been nice working with you. And I'm glad that you guys have picked a career that instead of being a philosopher dog catcher, you went into video. Good job, guys.
I'd like to point out that I don't even think she wrote down your last idea. She did not even make any notes for your
paper box.
No, she made notes
remake?
for your paper box. No, none of the remakes. She doesn't want to remake Ben-Hur. She doesn't want to remake Jaws. She doesn't want to remake Evil Dead.
I think Casablanca as a horror comedy is a winner idea.
It is an idea.
All the right elements.
Should have pitched it.
We had a conversation about this the other day, Scott, where I said, "Can you name the worst remakes you can think of?" And your answer, as I remember it, was all of them.
Yes, that's right. He did say that, and we talked about this at lunch before coming in here and recording this fantastic segment. And I have to say is, what is it that you have against quality remakes? Half of the big movies in Hollywood history.
Scarface.
Wizard of Oz, Scarface. Now that we're talking about it, the 1950s Ben-Hur would also not have been remade. 10 Commandments in the 1950s wouldn't have been made. Yeah,
I'd just like to point out how far back you're going to talk about these remakes. Any remake that has been made in the last 20 to 30 years has been a horror show.
Come on, Blade Runner? That's going to be brilliant. They brought back Harrison Ford. He's apparently a skin job.
Please.
The Dawn of the Dead remake was really good.
Yes, it was.
Oh, so now you're saying yes because the president is voicing an opinion. Oh, I like the way that I like to watch your bulletproof integrity in action, Scott. Let me tell you.
Well, you should take notes, Smith.
Okay, I've made my decision.
You sound happy about that. Good.
Am I the only one having fun here? I don't understand.
No. We're all having fun. I'm just. I'm
Chris is nervous and short of breath. This almost killed Chris, just so you know.
I'm going to tell you, I narrowed it down
almost
to
killed
2.
my friend Chris. That's right. I'm never going to go back to gamifying anything ever again.
That's right.
I've narrowed it down to 2. I really like Scott's idea for the remake of Cannonball Run.
Woo!
With a Fast and Furious bent.
Yay!
It's also a musical directed by Jackie Chan. And I also like Smith's idea about the Beatles musical.
Boom! All right.
So I've narrowed it down to 2. I'm going to decide after I hear what you guys... I want to hear what the movie titles would be for these movies.
Far be it for me to pitch the title for a Cannonball Run remake from the man who hates Cannonball Run and remakes. But...
I have never been on record saying that I hate Cannonball Run. I love Cannonball Run.
All right.
Way to go to a remake that will be, by definition, within the last 20 years there, Scott.
I would just like to say that Madam President, one of these films will probably win you an Oscar nomination. The other one of these films will probably make you a boatload of money. You decide.
I will decide. Now, can I hear the titles of what these movies would be?
Luckily, both of those films that he's describing are in my movie, the Beatles' last public concert. The name of the movie is called The Rooftop because they played famously their last concert on a rooftop in London. The Rooftop is the name of the movie.
Okay.
Mine is called Cannonball Run 2020 Skids of Death. I just made that up.
No, really?
No kidding.
Cannonball 2020 Skid Mark of Death.
The lines are forming right now. In the future, there's already a line around the block to see this film.
And also, can you envision fusion and other futuristic things like flying, Scott, while you're in your fantasy brain?
I'm just saying. Never mind.
Who's president of the United States in this fantasy?
Huh?
Maybe we should live in the fantasy where this movie's
I'm just saying, hey, if you're going to make amazing films, Smith, you've got to live in the fantasy world. That's just how it works. Ask Michael Bay.
Oh, yes. Ask Michael Bay. Sonia, how is it that Michael Bay is not on your blacklist now that I'm thinking about it?
I didn't
points
want to
out-
use one of his spots because I figured none of you guys would pitch him anyway.
Smith defends Michael Bay like there's no tomorrow because of all the money he makes.
Well, and Smith loves those Transformer movies. Let me know when you guys are ready to hear my decision.
I am always ready to hear your decision.
I kind of hate picking this one, but I'm going to go with Smith's The Rooftop.
There it is. Do you see the money?
I
flying away
kind
from you?
of hate picking like my co-host's idea.
Do you see the money? It's got wings and it's flying in the opposite direction of where you are.
I want to say, like, I went into this really not wanting to pick any of Smith's ideas, so you guys have really let me down.
Oh, well.
I want to pitch a movie about a guy who takes revenge after being picked last on a shitty podcast someplace.
Hey! Look at the sportsmanship with Coryon right there. He doesn't win, and now he's just crapping all over this illustrious, august podcast. What a monster!
You put Edward Norton in that, and you've got a deal.
Edward Norton could be in the Cannonball Run movie. That's all I'm saying. He
Not-
wants to.
not
be- in
anymore,
fact,
'cause you're
he
not
called me
getting a
5
green
minutes ago
light.
and was like, "Did you get the deal? Did you get the deal?" I'm like, "Hold on. She's almost there." But now I got to call him, and I'm going to make Edward Norton cry because you didn't go with that pitch.
Thank you so much. I would just like to say it has been an honor working with Sonia Mansfield and the president of Dorking Out Studios. I knew that she was wise and just in all things, and I was
Enjoy
not
your
disappointed.
Oscar.
What was that?
I said, "Enjoy your Oscar."
I will.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have Coryon make some
I'm
room
gonna
on
take
my
idea
shelf
somewhere
right
else we can
now.
Make money.
Yeah, well, some of us have to, speaking of integrity, some of us have to follow our passions, and some of us have to remake a Burt Reynolds movie. But,
Well, some of us want to make money.
an inspiring way to get a crew working hard long nights is, hey, we're all in this for the money.
You know it, baby.
Gentlemen, thank you for all your pitches.
Thank you very much.
That brings us to our favorite headlines of the week. Sonia Mansfield, what is your favorite headline of the week?
This headline was a what when I heard it. Mel Gibson is in talks to direct a Suicide Squad sequel. And of course, everyone's freaking out. They're like, what? Mel Gibson? And I was like, what? Suicide Squad sequel? I don't want one of those, but it did make a lot of money. And Mel Gibson, as you know, not my favorite. But
why?
I wonder why. He's such an awesome dude. I think it's kind of an interesting idea. It'd have to be rated R, right? It would have to be.
Maybe. I don't know.
At that point.
Because that's the thing. he seems like too good a director to
He's
do a
nominated
sequel.
for an Oscar.
He is. That's
for
what I mean.
directing. Yeah, he's an Oscar-winning director.
He's
It's
an
like, does he
Oscar-winning-
really want to do a Suicide Squad sequel?
That's
But apparently he's in talks. Like, he did like a Q&A for Hacksaw Ridge, and he said that he was like on a first date with DC and that they were talking and all this stuff. And I was like, well, he might be an interesting choice. He might make an interesting movie.
he might, but I don't think they're going to let him. And actually, you know what? I said we weren't going
And
to talk
that's
about
why
this.
he won't do it.
That's why I think he will end up not doing it, because Warner Brothers DC movies have been losing directors like crazy. They lost Ben
Right.
Affleck a couple weeks ago. Then they were very hot and heavy talks with Matt Reeves, director of Rise of the Planet of the Apes or Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. I always get those two mixed up. He also and director of War for the Planet of the Apes that's coming out this. He was supposed to be this close to directing the Batman, and then a couple
And then
days
he
later,
saw a cut of Justice League and was like, nope.
and then something happened because
By the way, that's
Thursday
just my
night.
theory. That didn't really happen.
No, I think that's not a bad theory, because Thursday, like early in the week, it's like, oh, he's in talks. 9 times out of 10, when a director gets announced as in talks for a thing, they take on the movie and they end up directing it. Well, I guess this is the 10th out of 10 times, because he's out. His representatives are no longer negotiating with Warner Brothers to direct it, which tells me we've already seen director after director after director bail on movies, these Warner Brothers DC live action movies. I suspect Mel Gibson is kind of testing the waters. He's checking it out. But when he really sits down to think, if he wants to do a sequel to a really not very liked, and I'm sorry, DC fans, but that's the way it is, a not very liked, second string DC movie.
And they'll just note him to death. They just note him to death.
Yeah, they will. That's the problem.
And he would have to make it PG-13 probably, and he won't want to do that.
Maybe that's the thing. They've been noting all of these movies to death. I mean, it's pretty obvious that they noted to death Zack Snyder's Batman versus Superman cut, because the cut that Zack Snyder put out a couple months after the Ultimate Edition is a much more liked, much more satisfying movie than the one that Warner Brothers made him cut it down to. And this is a very strange... this last week, Doctor Strange came out on streaming. And Doctor Strange, a 5th-tier Marvel superhero, made more money than the Man of Steel. Made more money than...
It's because Man of Steel is a super bummer.
It's. I like it, but I see what you're saying, and I can't disagree with you. Man of Steel, when you think about all the potential in this era of comic book movies, the fact that Man of Steel is a Superman movie is an also ran behind Doctor Strange. It's
because Man of Steel didn't look any fun.
No, it's weird.
I will go see these movies. I'll go see Doctor Strange. I didn't even bother with Man of Steel. I didn't even see Batman v Superman.
Yeah, that's right.
Because they look like super bummers.
Yeah, and they are not uppers. That is for sure. All right.
What's your favorite headline?
My favorite headline is going to be quick, since I've already talked about one of the headlines I said I was going to talk about anyway. There's a new show coming to Hulu, executive produced by J.J. Abrams, from the works of Stephen King. It is called Castle Rock. And what it's being billed as is the Stephen King connected universe on TV.
That is so exciting.
Which at first might make you go, what? Blah. Oh, I hate how they're jumping on the bandwagon. No, Stephen King's...
He's been doing it.
He's been doing this since the 70s. All of his books are connected in various ways with characters that cross over and references to other books and everything. So the books that are being incorporated into this show, the release date is to be determined, are Cujo Needful Things, The Dark Half, Bag of Bones, Dead Zone, The Body, The Sundog, It, The Stand, Pet Sematary, Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon, Dreamcatcher, Gerald's Game, Misery, Salem's Lot, and I think some others. And
I
some
think
of these
Shawshank is in there.
Oh, and Shawshank, yeah. If you watch the preview, some of these which have already been turned into movies and everything, Shawshank Redemption's in there.
The Stand. Did you say The Stand?
I did say The Stand, yeah.
Okay.
Which I would be shocked if The Stand ends up being in there.
Well, The Stand would be like the end, right?
That would be like the end of the show.
I have to say, like, I haven't read a lot of Stephen King.
Mm-hmm.
What I did read, I did enjoy. It's just, I'm a slow reader.
Yeah.
And
he is
but I
not
have seen a lot of
quick
these
read.
movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering if, I guess, maybe I need to revisit them all before this starts. Maybe that would be helpful.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if I'd do it because, especially with this set of books, a lot of the adaptations have been kind of hit and miss. Like Dreamcatcher was bleh. Dead Zone was really good. The Body, better known as in its cinematic form as Stand By Me, was one for the ages. The Dark Half, Needful Things, I remember being blah. Although it is the subject of a fantastic Rick and Morty parody.
Patrick Bromley is like a Dark Half champion. Like he thinks it's underappreciated.
It could be. Well, perhaps we will have to bring him on to discuss this. But so
he is a Stephen King expert. So maybe he is someone to.
I would be willing to bet, since he's super into horror. That seems pretty expected.
Would you watch this, by the way?
Yeah. I'll definitely watch this. Yeah, I will watch.
I would watch this. I'm like, I don't subscribe to Hulu, but this is one of those things where I was like, I'll subscribe to Hulu for this.
Actually, you know what's really funny?
I'm gonna subscribe to Hulu anyway because I want to see Handmaid's Tale. But
you know what's, I shouldn't say really funny. What's somewhat funny is I subscribed to Hulu to watch the Stephen King adaptation of 11/22/63, and I have forgotten to cancel my Hulu subscription ever since then. And I use it maybe twice a month.
Right.
For about half an hour. So I have paid $60 or $70 to watch that one show. So
well, I hope it's worth it.
It's getting to the point where I'm not sure it is worth it. It's good.
No?
It was a good.
All right,
it was a good show, but it's like I don't know if it's $70 worth it. Anyway, so Sonia Mansfield, is there anything else that you would like to say before we get out of here?
Nah, I'll just say goodbye.
I will say thank you for making me the victor in the Dorking Out Studios challenge. This one goes out to Dell, because Dell is a huge Beatles fan, so I know that he's listened this deep into the show. This one's for you, buddy. Also, goodbye.
The Dorking Out Show is on Twitter at Dorking Out Show, where you can find Chris at Jet Jurgens and Sonia at The Sonia Show. You can read about Sonia's random adventures at thesoniashow.com and track the slow and creeping progress of Chris's novel and his other hijinks at jetjurgens.com. You can find out more about The Dorking Out Show at dorkingoutshow.com. While you're over there, you can support us by giving us a review on iTunes. We have a handy-dandy iTunes link to whisk you right back to 2007, where you can leave your review and 5-star rating in iTunes. We'd do it for your podcast. Want to dork out even more? Well, you can sign up for our newsletter, where you'll get all the headlines we use as fuel for the show. That's it for this week. Thanks for listening.